Hello everyone, welcome back on AgriAdventures. Here we are ready for this virtual experience, the Aperitivo Emiliano, supported by the Italian Consulate and the Italian National Tourism Board. This evening, I have been working also with a few local businesses that love, share the passion for the Italian food here in South Australia. So to who's following us, just to let you know who am I. My name is Simone Berliat. I am a professional in hospitality, and I have been working in the industry for 25 years with different job positions. I've been working as a waiter, as a barista, as a sommelier, and as a restaurant manager. In the last 10 years, I have been traveling and living abroad in 5 different countries. If I've done it, it was because I was looking to learn more about food production and learn more about the final customer. And in this journey, I had the opportunity to share this knowledge, this passion, just working every day, but also with the creation of events, food events, where to share this knowledge and the experience. So I've been organizing, the first event was done here in South Australia, actually, interesting, 2009. And then I've done more in London, and one of the last was done in the end of 2019 for again, for the Week of Italian Cuisine at Enzo Ristorante here in Adelaide. So from 2019, February 2019, I've been working on the project AgriAdventures, which is a booking platform for food events and food experiences here in South Australia. That was endorsed from the South Australian government under the SISA visa, which is experimental visa for entrepreneurship here in South Australia. During this period of time, I've been creating again new experiences through the platform. They were accessible. I created a community market, few community markets. I've been creating tours where we were going to visit local food producers where they are learning more about food production in South Australia, and coffee roasting experience, and also few, again, with the Italian Consulate, with the Radio Italia Uno dell'Aide, another producer, the Kaiser Servino, which was the only experience they actually went through during the COVID pandemic here in South Australia for the Week of the Italian Cuisine. We experienced 5 different Italian cheeses from 4 different regions, and 4 different wines. The experience that you're having today, it's a sort of copycat to that experience. Now, people have been asking me why I'm still doing this type of experiences, this type of virtual experiences here in South Australia, considering that the pandemic is no more, or at least it is, but we are not suffering like other countries are suffering for the pandemic. Well, the main motive is because creating these virtual experiences allows me to provide to the final customer exceptional products that they won't be able to access with a normal price point. So if I will have to create an experience like the Aperitivo Emiliano experience, which was sold for $55 per box, that was including the aperitivo plus a bottle of wine in a normal cafe or a restaurant, I will probably have to sell that experience for $100, $120. And that's because obviously there are extra costs involved. With the use of the technology and the fact that we appreciate now we have the opportunities that we were not having before, Creating these virtual experiences allow me to provide to you products a really high value that you can experience, and we can experience together over here on the AgriAdventures platform. Okay, so let's start with the first step. Now, I will say that we can start to do a little bit of unboxing. So we can see actually what it was available in the box for people that was receiving the box at home. So we are on the box over here. This is the box that was delivered. So for people that's following, they know what they will receive the next time. Maybe not with exactly the same product, but that is the format, that's his idea. So over here we have a sealed container that was refrigerated probably till 10 minutes ago. And where we have the Aperitivo, we had the Baileys, which is a local producer here in South Australia that produces lovely crackers and other specialties. We have the olives, and we have the bottle of red that we will speak about. This one is provided from the Chamber of the Italian Commerce, and it was a mini guide to the Italy and the different region, which is really interesting. Give us a small side, but really interesting. I'm gonna put it aside. Okay, so let's do a quick unboxing. That's gonna remove all the ingredients, and then we are going to start to speak. Nice smell. By the way, now I may slide down and actually break this up and slide down the Aperitivo. Here you are. Obviously a little bit too squeezed, but a bit of jiggling, I can organize it. And yeah, a bit of cross flavor contamination, always a way to improve. There is always an opportunity for improvement, but let's do that. This one was a good start. What we see from the next experiences, that is going to be the 25th of March. It's this time is based on the products from Adelaide Hills. We're going to have chocolate, we're going to have beer, and we're going to have whiskey. So here you are. So I'm going to have my meal. Haha. It's not looking perfect, but I'm using one hand, and not easy to do things with only one hand. For the people that have been purchasing it, they can do that, and they've probably been already setting it up. Okay, so the unboxing is done. Over here we have the Rosso dell'Emilia Vigneto Saetti that we will speak a bit after, and over here in a separate bag, because in the box there was only one wine available. That is the first wine that we'll try, which is Quarticello di Spina 2019 Malvasia Emiliana. That is gonna go into ice because you want to keep it cold. Now let's go back on the presentation, and we are gonna see now what we're gonna do. We're gonna speak about wine at the moment. So I assume that everybody is familiar about wine. The wine that we're gonna have are the Quarticello di Spina, as I said, Malvasia di Candia Frizzante from Emilia Romagna, and we're gonna have the Lambrusco Salamino, which is again a Rosso from Emilia Romagna. What wine is? Wine is fermented juice, Miley. It's fermented juice with the action of the yeasts that they are flying on the air wherever we are, and then they stay on the grape skin, they enter the juice, they start the fermentation process. So barley wine is a grape juice. The grape, it's really interesting plant. It has been traveling with us for a long time as a human being. There are records of the grapes being found on mummies in China, and starting from 7,000 years ago, so quite long ago. And the grapes then have been, the vine has been traveling from China to Georgia, then Iran, and then in Greece, and then from Greece, when the Romans came and they got in contact with Greece, they transferred the knowledge and the product in Italy. Small thing about the name. Originally, the name comes from the Greek language, which is inum, for wine, and then from inum moves in vinum, which was the way to present to say wine in Latin. Then you can see it's really easy. From vinum you went in wine for English speaking, vino in Italian, and vin in French and other languages too. So it's a common root. Now, cure meats, that what you have seen, actually I've been placing, no, it's not exactly the same setting, but anyway. So the cure meats that we're going to have for today, they're going to be Parma ham, as you have seen. We're going to have mortadella Bologna. We're going to have the salami picante, and we're going to have some provolone. There is an intruder over here, and then if you are able to recognize what is the intruder, I don't know what they're going to do, but just leave your comment below somewhere where you're watching it, because there is one that is not coming from Emilia Romagna. Okay, for who's familiar with the cured meats, okay, the cured meats, the first records that we have about cured meat was discovered in Mesopotamia. We're speaking about more than 5,000 years ago, and they found meat, they found fish that were dried. And then with the discovery and the knowledge and technology that was developed from Greece people with the use of salt and salines, they created the cured meat. So they were using salt to dry out quickly meat, to preserve it for a long time, meat in any kind of product that they could go off quickly. And then 200 years before Christ, the Romans, they implemented this knowledge into their culture. Making process, okay, sorry. Generally, the cured meats are now made by a pork meat. There is also a small part for cow meat, and there are other games like venison or other type of games that are used, but the majority of the time nowadays it's used pork meat and salt. That's what should be the basics for cured meat. Cheese. What is cheese? Well, that is something that we all should know, which is acidification and the coagulation of milk. And with these chemical reaction inside in milk, with the use of enzymes and acids, we create a curd, and the curd again being cut in different way, so to provide different outcomes. When the curd is extracted from the water and the milk that is left over, get placed into specific shapes, which it can be different depending on the type of cheese that you want to make. For instance, the provolone, it's hung on a sort of net, like a sort of salami, which is different to this, and then get dried. Now, there is an interesting story about the name of the cheese, because in the Indo-European population, which still go back to Mesopotamia, the cheese was named as quat. Quat was meaning fermented food, mild, really simple. It actually sounds a little bit kimchi too, but that's okay. And in Latin, the translation of the word was caesus. So something that got fermented was named caesus. But also Latin people was calling cheese as its shape, so forma. And forma is something that's coming from the Greek word for formos. Okay, it's really important to understand that, because over here we have the main difference between the two ways that we say today for cheese in the country that I know the most. So in France, you say fromage, and then from the word fromage, that comes from forma, and from formos, we have the word formaggio, which is used in Italian. The fun thing is that in English, you use cheese, which is coming from caesus. So the word cheese coming directly from the Latin word caesus, and it seems fun, but there is in the Roman dialect a word used to define the cheese, which is cacio, and it seems it is on the line of development. I like to find these small details about food, because they're always making food bit more interesting than what we are used to every day. Okay, now let's start again, and let's try to follow the same procedure. How this video pumped me up. It's amazing. Every time I watch it, I feel, yeah, yes, that's where I'm from. Okay, let's speak about Emilia Romagna. Emilia Romagna is located in the center north of the Italian peninsula, as you can see on the presentation. And it's a medium-sized, I can say big-sized region with a total number of 4.5 million of people living over there. It's considered one of the third wealthier regions in Italy, and it's one of the 10th in Europe. So it's a really good region where to live. It's actually been nominated by TripAdvisor the best touristic place to visit in the whole Europe. I don't know if in 2019, that's I'm not sure. Okay, the size. It's almost 5 times Kangaroo Island, just to understand. You put 5 times Kangaroo Island all together, you have the size of the Emilia Romagna. And as you may know, Emilia Romagna, for one thing, that should be probably something comes straight away out to your mouth. What is famous Emilia Romagna? Bolognese sauce. Yes. Bolognese sauce. What? What else? It's lasagne. Lasagne is coming from Emilia Romagna. Tortellini are coming from Emilia Romagna. Tagliatelle, la piedina from Emilia Romagna. Parma Ham from Emilia Romagna. Parmigiano Reggiano from Emilia Romagna. A lot of food, a lot of interesting food is coming from Emilia Romagna. I can say the majority of the pasta tradition is coming from that region. Depends mainly from the geography, but also from the history of the region. So we'll speak about that too in a few minutes. But what else we know about Emilia Romagna? Well, famous, Ferrari, Maserati, Ducati, Lamborghini, they're all produced in Emilia Romagna. So it's a kind of wealthy region. But there is something that a lot of people doesn't know, which is that the Bologna University was the first university in the West. So it was, I think, after the year 1000, was established and is still operating. So there is culture, there is food, and there is traveling. So it seems kind of really interesting. Now, let's see something that made me really interested when I was reading about it. So we have Emilia Romagna. Okay, why? First of all, why Emilia? What's the name Emilia coming from? Well, we have go back to Rome. Let's speak about the consul, which is Marco Emilio Lepido, that he was a consul in Rome that was the most promoter of the Emilia Strata, the Emilia Road, which was a road that was built from the Romans that was connecting from Piacenza to Rimini. And if you think about looking at the map over here, looking at the Italian map, you think how important that road it was, because it was allowing Mali to move from one sea to the other sea. It was cutting the Italian peninsula in a long way. And then it was allowing, if you think nowadays, it takes around 2 hours, 2 hours enough to travel from one point to the other point by car, okay? Well, think about the legions that when they're moving, how important was for them to move a legion. They probably was able to move in a daytime, in 24 hours, in 26 hours. They were able to move from one side to the other side of the Italian peninsula. How important was this region? Next step, why Emilia Romagna? Why two regions? We can see on the map over here, there is a bit of cut. And that is another interesting thing. It's after the Roman Empire fall and we had the Byzantine Empire, we had also the Longobards. Longobards coming over, they were coming from the now Germany region. And they conquered the Italian peninsula. For a good amount of time, they had their kingdoms, they changed shape, but roughly 1,200 years, Italian peninsula was covered from the Longobards. And that piece, so the Emilia itself, was under the Longobards. And then that changed a lot the geopolitical configuration of the region. While the other side, Romagna, was annexed to the Pope state. So if you think about these things, they can change quite a lot the way how the commerce works and how population, the community, the society works. Well, I place an asterisk over here because I promised to myself to say to everyone, I'm not an historian, okay? I just like to go a little bit deeper in what I'm doing. And over here, this part is just to help to understand how and why the cuisine over there is so complex. And but in the whole Italian peninsula is so complex. Okay, now can say that we spoke about history enough, huh? Let's start to speak about wine. I'm starting to be thirsty, so hopefully we can taste it. Producer, Quarticello, where they are located, they are close by Reggio Emilia, still Emilia Romagna, really tiny producer. We're speaking about total production, total amount of vineyard, 5 hectares. I don't know, I don't remember now how many acres, but definitely tiny vineyard. One of the curiosity about this vineyard is that 1 hectare have been rented, not planted from the owner. So 4 hectares planted from the owner, I think 25 years ago, and the other one left. It's probably 50 years old. What the thing that makes a lot of change, you will see in a second. The other thing is, obviously, it's an organic wine, it's a natural wine. Okay, so if you have any questions about organic wine and natural wines, please write your comment below, and then I will reply to you. Obviously not during the presentation. So what I was speaking about special, this. This called Alberata or Uve Maritata. I don't know if there is a translation for the word in English. This was all the way to grow the vineyards around the tree and mildly use the tree as a system of growing. Isn't that amazing? So it's something that we're not used to. We're not used to see when we visit a different wine zone. There is always a double cordon. There is the quadruple cordon. Sometimes you can see the Guyot, which is obviously not used over here. And I think that this producer used Guyot for the majority. But this style of growing the vineyard is a completely different. And there are historic motives about that too, which we won't speak about that today. Okay, so this is Malvasia Emilia EGT. What it means is that the grapes are produced locally, but they are not exclusive from the area. And the area where this wine can be produced, it's only in the Emilia side, okay? Even though the producer, it's really tiny, so other producers can make the Malvasia Emilia EGT. It's the variety is Malvasia di Candia, which seems originally coming from Greece. It's a semi-aromatic variety. What I'm going to expect, a lot of fruitiness, but we have a re-fermentation in bottle, the same one used for the champagne. So I'm expecting yeasty, minerality, citrus, and fruitiness. We will see if I'm going to find it. By the way, this is the first time that I taste this wine, so completely blind. Oh, sorry, unfiltered. And now, ta-da, let's go with the wine testing. And I want to change the camera because I want to show you the wine under a different point of view, and especially still having my face on it. Okay, well, let's go. So here you are. Definitely, I'm not gonna get thirsty tonight. I have 2 bottles of wine to open. Espina, Quarticello, Malvasia Emilia. So first of all, what I see, we have a crown cap. That's for my sink. It could be done in a more easy way, just cracking it, but I'm a sommelier and I need to do things in a fancy way. No, I'm not. So let's see. This is a frizzante. So it's how do I can define that? Somebody else can provide me some help for that. Frizzante and spumante. Technically speaking, frizzante, it's a wine that goes up to 2 bar of pressure, while spumante, it's a wine that goes up to 6 bars of pressure, okay? So that obviously changes. Oh, I love it. I love the color. Now you can't see it because it's that side. Can you see anything? Wow, okay, okay. It's already a lot to say over here. And because you can't see that, I'm gonna stop to share. And you can see all that. Can you see that? Oh, this is a beautiful yellow, gold yellow color. And then there is gold in it, wherever you look at it. It's really a banana yellow. No, oh, okay. We have apricot, we have dried apricot. We have good minerality, a little bit of anchovies, a little bit of rose soap. We have there are a little bit of grapes too, as juice, honey, and then now it comes out the sourness coming from, sourness is not correct, acidity that is coming from the fermentation process and the no filtration. Oh wow. As expected, it's pretty dry. So the surprise is at the nose, the palate, it's really dry, which is interesting. I'm checking the temperature. You can see I have always my little thermometer with me. Definitely is not 22 degrees because there is not option. It's not possible. It's going to be 20. It's probably now around a good 6/8 degrees. Okay, so this is a wine that at the nose has a lot of aromaticity and it's intriguing. It brings you in around palate, minerality, acidity, medium light body, so easy to drink. It needs food. So obviously I'm really looking for what I could use, and I already seeing the mortadella. It will be amazing with this wine, and probably the provolone too. Some crunchy things that will work really well. My poor prosciutto is starting to sweat. Now let's go to see the following one instead. What do you think, huh? Now I'm back on the presentation. This wine has something like gooseberry. Yeah, something floral, a little bit of jasmine. Still minerality, no citrus. The Malvasia is so interesting. I could spend the evening just to speak about this one. Okay, sorry, don't want to take away anything from the Rosso dell'Emilia, Vigneto Saetti. I had the opportunity to speak with Sara Saetti, the owner, for an interview that I've done a few months ago. It was really interesting. This is a natural wine. It's organic, and the producer even smaller than Quarticello, and it's no more than 3 hectares of vineyard planted, and not from the family again, from somebody else, but they are taking over, and they're making an amazing product. To me, it's amazing for different motives. So first of all, it's a Lambrusco. As a Lambrusco, you would expect bubbles. No, this is a flat Lambrusco. It's not designed to be bubble. They produce sparkly one, but this one is not. Second, apologize. Second, is a natural wine, is organic, certified, has no sulfites. And now probably I'm saying a little bit too much, but let's say, okay. So again, it's produced in the Emilia region and has no sulfites. So what there is behind the concept of no sulfites? We will speak about that as we will speak about the other preservatives, natural or not, that they used in food. And sulfites are majority of the time used in small amounts. They are naturally produced, and they are designed to control what? The yeast proliferation, to control the fermentation itself, to select the yeasts that you want to have from the one that you don't. So if you think about, if you're going to put something in the wine that is going to stop all the unwanted yeasts, because there are different families, you can select the ones that they can work with sulfites, and you can breed that type of yeast to give you the results that you want. However, if you work without sulfites, you're not just it's going to be wild fermented, but also you need to be super clean. You need to do a super precise work, because a small mistake could throw away the whole production. And then if we think about this wine over here, it's in Australia, and then it was transported over here. So natural wines suffer from the transportation unless the work was amazing in the vineyard, hyper selection on the grapes, but also super clean in the cellar. And that this work, it's only possible to do when you are a small scale. And actually, Sarah and his father are the only ones that are working on this business. That's why the size of the vineyard, tiny vineyard, they can manage on their own, and because of that, they can do an amazing work. By the way, for who has noticed from the bottle, but from the presentation, but maybe it's easier to see from the bottle over here, the label, it's fabric, it's not paper. And that Sarah told me that she decided to use fabric because it's another local product that is common in their in her area. And that is really interesting because these fabric products cannot be located on a bottle by a machine. So every single bottle has been worked by hand from or Sarah or her father. So really, really personal touch, really amazing and interesting. Just to finish with that, Vitis Labrusca. That's another surprise. Sorry, I'm gonna get another sip of the Malvasia because I just opened it. I'm sorry that I'm not tasting more of it. And by the way, at the moment we are around 11 degrees, and I'm gonna put it back because it's okay, but it can be also slightly cooler. Now, what is the Vitis Labrusca? And why I've been placing the Vitis Lambrusco? Because Lambrusco as variety is not part of the Vitis vinifera family. What's the difference? Well, we have seen before, the Vitis vinifera comes from China, while the Vitis Labrusca, it's originally from America. Completely different product. The Vitis, the American vine have been used in a different way in agriculture, but anyway, this is a completely different family. It's like to speak about apples, like the Vitis vinifera, is the family is the main root, and then below that you have the Shiraz, the Cabernet Sauvignon, the Vitis Labrusca, it's the pear. So we are tasting a wine made from a product that is not common, I have to say. And now, all this technology, Kirimitz is looking at me and say, are you crazy? What, are you looking to eat me or what? Okay, so here you are. And let's open it. Now, first of all, what type of opening is it? Here you are. And we have a beautiful piece of paper that I'm not used to. I have a piece of paper into wine. And it's a little message from Luciano, which is the Sarah's father. After years of attention and care, Vigneto Setia concentrated on quality in reducing the quantity produced, obtaining grape where its natural equilibrium and unique qualities allow for a wine production without any addition of sulfur dioxide. Huh? Isn't that cool? There's a lot to say over here. And look, here it. We have a cork. So for who's not familiar with a cork, that's how you use it. This is simple thing. Then you bend it one time. It's not probably the best thing to do diagonal, but it's okay. And when you're up over here, you bend another time. And whoop, really easy. Now, when we have wine by cork, what we do, we sniff it. Chocolate. Straight away, this is chocolate. And it's kind of young cork, I have to say. It's a conglomerate. Let's see. Oh, we have a bit of re-fermentation in bottle. See, a bit of bubbles. And now we have the alcohol coming out. So I'm gonna wait a little bit to speak about this wine. We can move on. And I was thinking that we may have a bit of relaxing time. Let's see from all these history and things. Yes, exactly. So enjoy this little virtual tour in Emilia Romagna.
Emilia Romagna, a generous land, fertile plains, enchanting scenery, art and history-laden cities. In the Middle Ages, commerce and culture made it bloom. This region's magnificent cities cherish their art treasures' uniqueness. Bologna the Learned, seat of the most antique university in the Western world. From the heights of the Colle della Guardia, Guardsman's Hill, it dominates the city, the sanctuary of the Madonna of San Luca, which can be reached by walking up a covered route. In the historic center, San Petronio Basilica, dated 1390. The splendid fountain dedicated to Neptune, decorated with Giambologna statues. The 5th century Santo Stefano monumental complex, also called the Seven Churches. 2 high towers, Asinelli and Garisenda, symbolize Bologna. The perfect backdrop for Bologna's refined cultural traditions is the Teatro Comunale, dated 1763, which hosts an opera and concert season. Ravenna features exquisite mosaics in the Galla Placidia Mausoleum. The San Vitale Basilica and Sant'Apollinare Church. Ferrara, seat of the Este family's opulent court. Their imposing castle dominates the city centre. Parma, whose Romanic Duomo is an admirable architectural masterpiece. The octagonal baptistry covered in pink marble. The refined elegance of the Reggio Theatre, one of the world's best-known opera temples. Piacenza, harmoniously relaxing. Its historic centre preserves medieval and Renaissance buildings of great interest, such as, for instance, the former seat of the municipality, the so-called Gothic Palace, dated 1280. Piazza Grande, Modena's Duomo, one of Europe's most important Romanic works, and the Ghirlandina Tower, thus called because it is twice encircled by banisters which crown it like garlands. Emilia Romagna is full of flavors and scents. The regional cuisine's pride are generous, tasty dishes. Lasagna, tagliatelle. The gastronomic production comprises Parmigiano cheese, prosciutto, salame, culatello. Land of excellence, also in the field of artistic crafts and industry. Faenza, celebrated for its splendid ceramics. Maranello, seat of Enzo Ferrari's prestigious automobile factory. Traditional feasts take place throughout the region, such as, for instance, Garibaldi's feast in Cesenatico, and Faenza's enrapturing palio and historical parade. Emilia Romagna, with its superb cities and magnificent beaches, like, for instance, Rimini and Riccione. The ideal place to relax and have fun, while enjoying the local hospitality and joie de vivre.
So, welcome back. Before move on the cured meats, I didn't explain totally why and what's happened with Emilia and Romagna. So when I was speaking about the Pope and I was speaking about the Longobards, I didn't say that the two regions, they were unified when Italy became one unique country. So speaking about the 1861. So during the Italian unification, the two regions had been added to the Italian kingdom, the Sardinian kingdom, and then, opposite, Sardinian kingdom and the Italian kingdom in the 1860. So thinking about that, people that was arriving here in Australia, in South Australia in 1840, and because a lot of have been starting over here around the 1840, for 20 years, Italy was not existing. It's shocking. We're not speaking about more than a couple hundred years ago. So Italy was not a country. The two regions, they were split apart. They're completely different. They were fighting each other. And then it's just, a blink of eyes for the Earth planet. So the planet Earth. Okay, look, cured meats. What we have in the aperitivo, we have obviously the Parma Ham, as I said, mortadella, salami piccante, and provolone. Let's say something about. Okay, Parma ham. That's probably the king for tonight. Parma ham, which is obviously produced from the leg of a pig, and it's produced mainly in one tiny piece of the region, which is south of Parma. And the DOP, so the legislation that allows to call it Parma ham or prosciutto di Parma, allows to just no more than 145 producers to make Parma ham. The per exuctum, the word that was used during Roman time, because already during Roman time there was that area was known for its own dried cured meats, and it means really dry. Okay, as I said, under 45. The cured meat need at least 1 year of aging. And one important thing that we could chat a little bit is the fact that this cured meat doesn't use any nitrito or any nitrato. So they are completely preservative free. You could say they are natural, you could say they're organic. The only thing that it's used to make Parma ham is just pig, air, and salt, which is quite rare. If I want to give you an example, just a little comparison between these type of the Parma ham, this another type of ham that I found over here. The ingredient of this meat is pork, water, salt, acidity regulators, dextrose, maizena and tapioca, emulsifiers, pork proteins, sugar, modified tapioca, starch, thickener, and antioxidant, and potato fibers, sodium, which is the nitrite, sodium nitrite, citrus fibers, canola oil. So two completely different words. And that's why the quality of this product that has actually a huge market, because is I think it's 1 billion and more of 2 billions of American dollars, the market of the Parma ham. Okay, mortadella Bologna EGP. So mortadella is the second cured meat that we have, and it was invented in Bologna, and nowadays, unfortunately or fortunately, depends on what your point of view, is produced majority in the whole north of Italy. So So it covers all the Emilia Romagna, and it goes all over in Lombardy, even in Tuscany. It's made by pork meat and pork fat or lard, and then it's simply blended and then fill up inside in the sausage container and cooked, steamed. Depends the size, it can be steamed from few hours, few even a day, and after the cooking process, it gets cooled down quickly, so there is no risk of acidification. It's kind of aromatic, light, sweet, or Creole with sandwiches. This is a massive production, cured meat, and has a nitrato inside. Then we have the spicy salami. And I was telling you before about the intruder and the Iriwar. For my knowledge, in a tradition of Emilia Romagna, there is no spicy salami. I choose the spicy salami because generally over here in South Australia, you used to have inside in the cured meat platter something a little bit spicy. So I didn't want, betray your trust in the service. However, if you want to find something a bit more spicy, you have to go in Puglia region and then stay tuned on the AgriAdventures platform, because there will be also a Puglia region event coming in the future. Not sure if near or not. Then cured meat, cheese, we have the provolone. Provolone, it's made by cow milk. It's called, I think, pasta filata or cooked curd. And then mainly what they do the process, as you've seen before, of acidification of the milk. And then they add the acids and the proper enzymes. They cut the curd, they remove the curd, and when the curd is removed, they warm up again the leftover water. That at the moment I don't have the proper name in my brain, but it's warm up again, and then it's poured on the fresh curd, making it become elastic. That's how mozzarella is done. Mozzarella, it's a cooked curd. And the provolone is not just a cooked curd, but it's also dried. And then you can have different type of provolone. There is a provolone which is dolce, sweet. It's not sweet because sugar. It's sweet because it has a smaller aging process, and also they use cow enzymes, so more milky. While there is also the provolone piccante, which is the long aging, which goes from a couple months of aging up to 1 year, and then they use goat enzymes. In that case, you obviously have a different product. It's drier, it's harder, and then you can have even, I believe, also the smoked one, but it's another story. Okay, so before finished with a little bit of myself eating the antipasto platter with drinking wine and telling you what I think about, I'm not sure if you're interested, but that's why you're here. I would like to show you something that I found really interesting, and I would like to share regarding the Parma ham. More than about the production itself, it's the way how to serve it. Because that's why you've seen I've been working with Mercato in Adelaide, and that mainly because it's really important the way how this cured meat is worked. And then we will see that through people that is from the Parma consortium. So I'm not going to tell you that, they are going to tell you, and you may find something interesting.
Now let's look at how our Parma ham should be handled. First of all, we remove the protective wrapping. Then we remove the grease that has formed all over the surface. Now we're going to trim our ham. That is to say, we're going to eliminate, where necessary, certain parts of the surface, such as a very thin white patina on the surface of the meat, or certain parts of the fat that have become rancid and yellowish. We don't use any products such as vinegar to clean our ham. After trimming our ham, we're now going to eliminate part of the rind. But be careful, the rind helps protect the ham, so never remove all of it, but only the part you're about to slice. Under the rind, we find fat. When cutting away the rind, we never remove all the fat. We always leave a layer like this, because it's the fat that gives Parma ham its classic sweet and fragrant flavour. Apart from anything else, it must be added the fat on Parma ham consists of almost 70% unsaturated fatty acids and is therefore characterised by a modest cholesterol content. Now that the ham has been trimmed and the rind has been cut away, we can begin to slice it. There are 3 fundamental rules when slicing Parma ham. Rule number 1, never, repeat, never slice ham with the rind on. Always remove the rind from the part you are going to slice. Rule number 2, only slice ham when asked by a customer and avoid exposing it to the air for too long. Preparing slices beforehand and leaving them in the refrigerated counter display until they are sold is absolutely wrong. The slices dry out, they change colour, the ham becomes salty and the taste is ruined. Parma ham is more delicate than other hams because it contains neither preservatives nor colouring, and so it has to be handled with greater care. Rule number 3, the slices must be thin as possible. To slice deboned Parma ham, a slicing machine is used, precisely because it produces very thin slices. This can be manual or electric. For ham, it is best to use a slicing machine that has a vertical blade with a minimum diameter of 30 centimeters. Okay, now we position our ham on the slicing machine and adjust the thickness of the cut to obtain an optimal slice. You see this slice? It's thin, with a pleasing layer of white fat. Observe the color of the slice, red, tending to pink. This is the characteristic color of Parma ham, different from that of other hams, because it's a natural colour, given that Parma ham has no colourings, nitrates or other additives. If the slice contains defects, such as a small blood-coloured mark or yellow fat, we must eliminate these imperfections directly from the ham so that the next slices will be perfect. If instead we find in the slice a small white chalky spot, this is not a defect. It's tyrosine, an amino acid from the proteins that crystallizes during maturation and whose presence is typical in hams that have been matured for a long time. The slices are laid on a sheet of food-grade paper, not one on top of another, but partially overlapping, in this way. To avoid them sticking to one another, it's a good idea to interleave the layers. The ham should be cut right up to the shank, more or less at this level, after which it becomes practically impossible to produce nice thin slices. Nevertheless, the final part of the shank is still usable. We can prepare some thick slices to be diced or julienne cut for cooking with. Then the very last part can be used to prepare a fine stock. Hand cutting is generally reserved for on-the-bone ham. For instance, it may be suitable when we serve Parma ham with aperitifs. We need a ham clamp and a long, thin knife. We begin by eliminating the smearing, that is, the layer of fat that protects the exposed surface of the ham. Then we cut away the rind. Unlike the procedure for deboned ham, where we start from the base in hand, cutting, we start from the side of the ham. We try to produce thin slices with their layer of fat, because it's the fat that gives Parma ham its classic, sweet taste. We carry on in the same way, with regular parallel cuts, until we reach the bone. On reaching it, we turn the ham and carry on in the same way on the other side.
Okay, here we are. While you were watching that, so for the people that's following now, you know, slice it thin. Don't slice it with the rind on, please. No, no, it's bad. That's why I've been working with Mercato, because when you go to visit them, you will figure it out. They treat properly the cured meat how they should be. They provide you the proper layers and how it should be done, how it's done in Italy. Okay, so let's go to have a look together about the platter. I want to tell you something because I found a few interesting things. And let's go. Here you are. My little technological advancements over here. 3, 2, 1. Here we are. Okay, so you've seen I've been munching a little bit in the meantime, and here you are. So what I've learned, I've seen is, first of all, the Malvasia works really well with the cheese, definitely. And you can see now the Parma ham is really oxidated. Can you see the brown color? How long it was been outside? Not much. That's why the guy was saying to do not pre-slice it, because now it's saltier and it has lost all its sweetness and softness. However, with the Malvasia, you will taste still the Parma ham. So the Parma ham will be still working, and the Malvasia, it will be okay. With the mortadella, I have to say that, and I'm surprised about, but I have to say that the mortadella itself loses against the Malvasia. If you have the mortadella and the Malvasia will clear the mortadella away from your palate. By the way, the Baileys, slightly sweet. They're tiny, crunchy flavor crackers, really nice. And you will say at this point, where are we going to use the Lambrusco Salamino? Well, the only one that works really well with Lambrusco Salamino is the spicy salame. That's interesting, is it? Because with the Lambrusco Salamino, if you both are going to have the mortadella and the prosciutto, simply is going to stay over them. So as per product, as wine product, it works really well with the spiciness. It works really well with gamey food. But the cool thing is not too intense in terms of alcohol. So we're speaking about 12% of alcohol. So it's really, really easy to drink. I don't know, olives are there just so you can enjoy. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this. Almost in the time, we had 1 hour and 14 minutes. So now you know what it means when I do the virtual experiences. Obviously, there is more interaction generally when they are live with other participants in the room, but that is what I'm trying to do. A lot of information, but it's also fun to do together. To finish with, well, I leave you with the present that was given to us from the Chamber of Tourism, and then the AgriAdventures logo or video. See you again next time here on the AgriAdventures platform from Simone. Ciao, and thank you for following. Have a good evening.